Thank you. For the record, Darryl Perry, CEO of Liberty Lobby LLC, and I'm going to begin going through my notes here chronologically, starting on page 2. There was a question about the duties of the alternate, and since it's not specified in this bill, I want to point out that rules of parliamentary procedure define how alternates are actually allowed to wind up participating in panels, and I see that we actually have 2 alternates sitting in today, and if the representative that they are filling in for shows up, then Representative Porter or Representative Damaris would have to get up and leave. They don't, just become additional members of this committee. But speaking about alternates, it leads me to a potential problem here. Beginning line 4, it says 10 citizen members, 1 from each county, no more than 4 of whom shall be current employees or elected officials, and 10 alternates, same criteria. Well, what happens if, let's say that the representative from Cheshire, Carroll, Coas, and Belknap are all elected or appointed officials? The alternate from Hillsborough is the city clerk for Manchester, but the appointee for Hillsborough does not show up. Then does the alternate then get to sit in? Because that would then be 5 members that are elected or appointed. So there's a potential conflict that needs to be resolved, because you don't want to wind up telling the alternate who shows up, you don't get to participate because fill in the blank. Moving down, or actually a further thought on that, Representative Roulard, you said that you believe that all citizens should be represented, and I agree, which leads me to ask the question, do you think that there should be a requirement that at least 1 undeclared voter and 1 libertarian voter be on this board? Should voter registration be taken into consideration at all, because libertarians tend to favor more transparency? And you don't have to answer the question. Going down, there was a question, and I forget who asked the question, about lines 21 through 23, also on page 2, about the advisory members and only giving advice on questions of law and existing policy. It doesn't say only, it just specifies that those are the things that they must give advice. Actually, it says shall give advice on. I don't know if a comma or semicolon might clarify that they're advisory, and by the way, here are things that they are required to give advice on. Skipping through to the last page, page 5, Mr. Johnson from the Municipal Association described what could probably be called an interlocutory hearing if it were going through the courts, to where a municipality could ask for essentially a preliminary ruling, and if so, then lines 1 and 2 would need to be changed to allow for that, because this refers only to a final ruling from an ombudsman that is then enforceable through contempt of court. So if there is a preliminary interlocutory hearing, you would need to wind up amending this to allow for preliminary hearings that are not final. Otherwise, I support the bill. Those are my thoughts. I will answer any questions.
Dennis, would you support a fee for filing a complaint?
Nominal. I would not support a fee that is equal to or higher than the fee going through Superior Court. But if it was, say, a $20 fee, then at least it shows that there is some kind of skin in the game, and it's not just a frivolous pill or a frivolous request. And I'm also hoping, and it doesn't specify in here, but I'm hoping that all of the rulings from the ombudsman would wind up going to the clerks across the state so that they know what previous rulings are, so that we can hopefully eliminate redundancy of hearings.
Seeing no additional questions, thank you, Mr. Curry.